Welcome to Topic 6, Lesson 3, Number Sense Decimal Multiplication. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about how can you use place value to multiply decimals. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our number sense, and we're going to think about what is a reasonable answer. This goes back to that reasonableness that we've been talking about over and over again. How about you need to make sure your answer is reasonable, and this is kind of plays into that. What is a reasonable answer for this number? So. And it also kind of plays into what I talked about at the end of that second question on the you try it, the 5500ths times, what was it, times 24. So, and how I talked about the relative size of the factors. And so that's going to become important with this lesson. So we're going to think about how can we use number sense for decimal multiplication. So let's say we had a problem and we're $45.30, so 45 and 30 hundredths, $45.30 times 55 hundredths. And I know the digits of my answers are 2, 4, 9, and 2. But the question I need to figure out is where am I going to put the decimal place? Where am I going to put the decimal place in that answer? So we need to keep in mind that when we multiply a number by a decimal less than 1, or that's 55 hundredths, it gives us a product less than the other factor. So that's important. So 55 hundredths is less than 1. So I know my product is going to be less than $45.30. So if I take this and think about where are my possible places for putting my decimal point, well, one possible place would be just leaving it at the end. You could make a number bigger than that too, right? You could add zeros on if you wanted to. That's one possible place. That's another possible place. That's another possible place. That's yet another one. Even another possibility that could be. Again, it could be you could put a 0 on there. You could put zeros over here. You can make it even small. But for our purposes, we're just going to run that decimal place as possibilities. So to think to ourselves, what would make sense? Which one is the reasonable answer? So if I multiply, so first of all, let's go back to our rule here. Multiplying a number by a decimal less than 1 gives a product less than the other factor. So I know I'm looking for a number less than $45.30. Is 2,492 less than $45.30? No. So I can cross that one out right off the bat. How about 249 and 2/10? Is that smaller than 45.30? No. So I can get rid of that. So now I've got 3 possible left here. Unless it got even smaller. I guess that would be, we know it can't get bigger because those two are too big. So let's think about this for a second. If I'm multiplying 45 and so if I multiplied 45 times 30 times 1, I would get $45.30, right? But I want to multiply by 55 hundredths. 55 hundredths is awfully close to 5/10. And when I multiply something by, so this is one group of $45.30. I'm sorry, I'm going to reverse these for my linguistics, my language. But I don't want one group of $45.30. I want a half a group. So what's close to a half a group of 45? What do you want to, I'm not even going to worry about the 30 cents. I'm just going to think to myself, what's close to a half of 45? That would be 24, right? 24. $2, 2 and 492 thousandths is way far off of it. 2,492 ten thousandths is way off of it. The closest I have here is the 2492. So I would know I could put my decimal place right there. That is the most reasonable answer that I have. Because a half a group of 45 is very close to 24. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to try this. There's 3 of them. I want you to see if you can figure out where you would put the decimal places. The first 2 are pretty easy. The third one, maybe a little bit difficult. Okay, what did you come up with? So this one, the number 1, I would just think of this as 5 times 3. What does 5 times 3 equal? 15. So where am I going to put the decimal? Right at the end. My reasonable answer for that would be 17. This one, I would think of this as 3 times 6. And what's 3 times 6? 18. So where can I put the decimal to make that close to 18? 19 and 22 hundredths. Okay, this is the tough one. 6/10 of 4/10. 6/10 times 4/10. So if I were, I'm gonna go back to my doing this. Does it make sense that 6/10 of 4/10? So less than one of less than one, would that be 24? Doesn't make sense. Does what less than one group of less than one group, would that be two? That doesn't make sense to me either. Less than one group of less than one group, that makes the most sense that it would be 24 hundredths. That is a little introduction to how we can use reasonable thought and reasonable number sense to placing a decimal into a quotient. Thank you for listening.